Hello, good evening, and welcome to NWCL Beyond the Boundary. My name is Chloe Donnelly, and today I'm joined by Farnworth Cricket Club's new first team captain, Tayler Heyes. How are you, mate?
Hi mate, yeah, I'm pretty good, thanks. Been
Good.
a busy day, but keeping going.
Today I want to ask you about the previous season at Farnworth, the upcoming season, and a few topics between that. You okay with that?
Yeah, of course.
Real. So, firstly, could you introduce yourself, please? So, tell us a bit about yourself, what made you take up the captaincy at Farnworth, and how excited are you to take on the new role this year?
Yeah, so for those that don't know me, obviously my name's Tayler Heyes. I've played in the Bolton League for a considerable amount of time now, and most will know me, but with the new league merger, those that don't, I'm a opening bat. Like to play my shots, and on my day, I can change a game, but not as often as I would have liked. Um, Being asked to become captain at a Farnworth Cricket Club was a huge honour for me. It was my boyhood club where I started playing, and probably one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club in the league. So to be asked was a huge honour, and I was never ever going to say anything other than yeah, and jump at the chance. So fingers crossed, we have a good year. Things have gone well so far, and looking forward to it.
Real. So, looking at last season, you probably didn't meet your expectations. You finished seventh in the league for your first. You got knocked out in the T20 group stages, and you also got to the Hamer Cup quarter final. What were your thoughts on last season as a play perspective, and why did you think you didn't meet your expectations last year?
Well, first of all, I think purely talking first team cricket here, and I think looking
Yeah.
much wider than that as a club as Falmouth as a whole, we've got to remember we had a second team that won everything. So from a club point of view, it wasn't necessarily an unsuccessful year. We was really successful as a club. From a first team standpoint, we've probably not been where we'd like to be for a while as a club. And before me coming back as well, I don't think it's unfair for me to say that we've not quite been where we'd want to be for a short period of time now. But going in, looking back at last season, although stats in terms of league positioning and where we've finished in cups don't read well, we've we've moved forward a long way. I think Ross last year, our captain, got a lot out of the lads that maybe had been missing for a while before him. So I think we take a lot of positives out of last year and add a few to it this year, and it stands us in good stead and gives us a platform to build from.
Yeah.
So I don't really see last year as a disappointment. I think we've got a lot of positives and a lot to build on from it, and it's exciting times for the club.
You mentioned positives there. What do you think you've learned from last season, which you can bring in to the 2025 season?
Um, Positives is the atmosphere around the club, the dressing room, um, between the lads themselves. I think socially we brought a lot out of the lads. I say we, Ross, I've got to give him his credit. He brought a lot out of the lads last year that probably haven't been there for a while, and it made lads want to turn up and be at the club and around the club and be around one another. So it's
Mm.
built a bit of I don't know if you want to call it brotherhood, um, but it's made us want to stand side by side and compete together. Stuff to learn on would probably be more this year is we've got to be more cricket focused. Um, so one thing that we're pushing at is we train hard on a Tuesday night, we get numbers down to training, we turn up on a Saturday morning early, we hit the ground with warm ups and show the right intensity and do the right things. And then attitude whilst we're playing, we stay switched on for 45 overs in the field. We make sure we chase every ball down. When we're batting, we value our wickets a bit more. And that's not to say people stop playing shots, but it's just about people being more accountable for their contribution. And that's the same all the way down our order through our lineup. So, like I say, a lot of positives from last year, and it's only stood us in good stead to build from this year. As long as we turn up and we do the right things and we compete the right way, I think we'll do all right.
Yeah, well, you mentioned obviously your success out of the first team for obviously other things, including the second team, and your second team, as you mentioned, were very successful. They won the league and cup double for the second year in a row. How
Yeah,
nice is it to see some success in the club, despite obviously the first team maybe not getting that silverware?
I think from a club perspective, it's brilliant. I mean, Sam and the lads have it's been nothing short of tremendous, and you can't knock them for what they've done. I think it wouldn't be unfair for me to say that that second team at Farnworth would probably compete with half of the first teams throughout the Northwest Cricket League, and that's talking about both divisions, not saying the top of the top, but they would compete. They're a great set of lads, and they can all play cricket. So as a club, yeah, it's great to see, and I'm hoping that we can sort of contribute to that this year and show a bit more positivity from the first team level as well. I think we owe it back to the club to turn up and just be better with better attitudes, and hopefully the results will follow.
Well, I think we covered last year now. So looking into 2025, what's your expectations? I know there's been quite a few incomings and outgoings, so could you tell us a bit about them as well, please?
Yeah, of course. So if we start off with outgoings, I mean, I think it's common knowledge throughout the league, but we'll start off at the top of the order. We lose Alex Rodzok. Um, Alex has gone back to Tong. He's an absolute great player, and there's no one can really question that. I think he won't mind me saying it, but it's fair to say he was selfish for the right reasons because he wanted to perform and he wanted to do well. And stats don't lie. He's done very well for the club, so he's going to be a big loss. And same with Ross as captain. I think having played with Ross now, and I can honestly say from watching him back week in week out and in training, on his day you simply cannot bowl him. And I know it didn't always show in game situations, and sometimes maybe not captaincy getting to him, but his mind might have been too focused on captaincy at times, so his results didn't shine through. But you can't take it away from him. He's a hell of a cricketer, and both with bat and ball, we lose massively in losing him. Now on incomings, we replace Ross with Adam Patel, who's a genuine slow left arm, and we expect to be one of our major players with the ball this year. Having netted with him now through winter, it's obvious to us what he's going to bring, and we need to support him in the field as well. But he's going to be a huge shining for us. And then Chris Baxendale comes back again. He's got a wealth of experience behind him. He's capable of scoring as many runs as anyone in the league, providing that he concentrates in it and he gets himself in the zone for it. So with the whole group environment that we're trying to change this year, I think Baxi will thrive in that situation because we're all going to be pulling in the same direction and looking to do things right rather than just turn up and hope for the best. So it's going to be an interesting year for the club, but positive nonetheless. And then we look at the likes of, obviously we've retained Liam Smith from last year. Liam had just shy of 1,000 runs with no tons and didn't score virtually anything for the last 6 or 7 innings. So Liam being retained is another major factor for us. And then obviously we bring Riley and Spencer in, pro and overseas. We've got Spencer who's going to probably open up the bowling for us, swings it round corners a bit, and we'll get the most out of our decks. And then Riley, stats don't lie, he's a bit of a run machine, so it seems. We had a video call with him shortly before one of his games a few weeks ago, where he's turned around to myself and Boothie and told us he's going to go and score 150. And I've woke up the next morning to a text that he'd gone on to do so. So confidence and stats, they speak volumes, and he looks like he's coming over here to do the business. So yeah, I think we're in good stead with signings, and although the losses that we have lost are huge, I don't think they're going to be detrimental to us. I think we've recruited well, and the atmosphere around the team and the club seems to be changing, and we seem to be moving in the right direction. So all positive.
Good. If you look forward to the end of September, what would success look for you at Farnworth looking at the first team? What kind of expectation from this year?
Um, Listen, I think it's hard to say. I could stand here now and tell you I expect to win the league, win the cup, win the T20, because we've got the squad to do so. But so has three or four others in the league as well. So it'll all depend on, as I said, I keep banging the drum, but us having the right attitude when it matters, um, making sure when we're in battle and games are getting down to the nitty gritty and the 50-50 and it's in the balance and can go either way, we need to make sure that we concentrate that extra 10% and we come out the right side. So I think with the experience we've got in the team and like I say, the attitude and the push now that I'm trying to build, we just do the right things and hopefully it pays off in the long term. But as I say, there's three or four clubs that I feel are as strong. So it's just about us doing the right things and doing everything we can in our power. And if we do, I believe that we'll bring success back. And it's nothing short than what we owe the club. I mean, the what the club's put into us in recent times, we only owe them something back, and the only way we can do that is produce results and bring some silverware back. So that's our aim and what we're gonna go for. But it's too early to start saying we're gonna do X, Y, or Z because it's impossible to say.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned obviously you're overseas and pro this year. What made you go for players from down under, and what do you think they can add to the club off the pitch as well as the performances?
So myself personally, obviously, first of all, we had two Aussies last year who was absolutely tremendous. I mean, again, I shout out to Connor. Obviously, we've lost him this year, but that's a standard for a cricket club to change a pro and overseas. So it's nothing to dwell on. But stat wise, Connor didn't do so great for us last year. However, as I stood and watched him ball week on week, and he was a genuine frontline seamer. He moved the ball. He had a yard. He troubled batsmen. I mean, I watched him. I watched him take the stumps out of Sam Fanning last year, and the ball he got him with would have struggled most batsmen. So he definitely had it. And then he's gone back home this our winter, his summer, and he's gone on to win their grand finals with his team, but also claim his league bowling prize. So it's it was a big factor to see. So, and then obviously Liam, it's just coming from down under, the buzz it brings around the club. The kids want to interact with him. The locals in the club want to socialise with them. They're interested in him, and I think they play harder cricket. Them two last year aren't the first Southern Hemisphere players that I've played with, and they just play stronger, harder cricket, and they always seem to be in the battle. We was in talks with a couple of local pros. I don't need to name names, but I just felt that we get more out of an overseas player coming in. Like I say, the buzz around the club, the kids want to interact more, the locals want to interact more. It brings them back to come and watch and play. And they're coming over for a reason as well. They're coming over to prove a point and further their career. Whereas sometimes you can get a local pro and you might perform 3/4 of the season and they might be brilliant and the stats back them up, but they're not in the club on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights. They're not down here coaching kids and all the rest of it that goes with it. So I think that was the choice behind the Australians again. And so far, I think it's one that's paying off because we're moving in the right direction and we're moving there pretty quickly.
Yeah. You said there, you certainly be challenging this year despite your outgoings. But for those who've been to Farnworth will know it's a very nice ground. And I know you have quite a lot of events, from what I see on social media. But have you got any plans this year on and off the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, we're blessed at Farnworth. We have the likes of Martin Axford and his staff that produce for us year on year. I mean, you'll have seen it all over the socials, but we look at like the new sports bar that's been added. obviously darts is a massive thing at the minute, and here at Farnworth we just seem to keep rolling with the time. So we've introduced a bit of like a darts room with a pool table, and then you look at, I mean, Crossy on a Tuesday night, he's got his quiz going. It's been going for many years now. The amount of acts that we have, live acts, music, and whatnot that are played every other week, especially throughout cricket season. The club itself and the environment, it's just rocking constantly. And we are lucky and privileged that we've got an owner in Martin and the team that he carries with him to keep producing that for us. So I think that's why this year I took it on my shoulders to try and drive attitudes to be better on the pitch so that we can give them back performances that they deserve and that we owe to them for everything that they give to us.
Yeah. Well, I spoke to Will Rafford the other day, and we mentioned how good a batting track Reed was. And for those who've played at Farnworth will know that it's a very good batting track. And as a batter yourself, how nice is it to play on Farnworth?
Yeah, I mean, Farnworth as true as they come. Look at stats for last year. It's no coincidence that we've scored more runs than any other team in the league, top and bottom division. I think we've strengthened a hell of a lot this year bowling, so I think that's why I feel confident and we're in good stead. But in terms of batting on here, you don't get many flatter decks, but you've always got a bit of a chance with the ball as well. It's not completely one way. So yeah, it's a good place to play. We've got great staff. The ground's so well looked after, and we're lucky with the facilities we have. But as I say, that's why we owe it all back to the club. So it's really important for me this year that we're turning up and with the right attitudes. Sometimes people have got to understand that results don't always come. Sometimes we will be in the balance of a 50-50 game, and loads of teams have got great players that can win a game on their own. But as long as we're doing the right things and we're approaching things the right way and we're giving 100%, then we'll not be far off.
Yeah. And can you give us a peek at what the long-term success is for Farnworth? So with juniors, any new events, can you let us know about the long-term plan for Farnworth?
Yeah, so in terms of juniors, it's we we're not low on numbers in terms of total number of juniors, but we've not got really any juniors in our upper age brackets at the minute, and I think that's part of a longer term plan that Simon Booth has had in place for some time. Now, obviously, Simon's took a bit of a step back and relinquished captaincy and whatnot, but I still refer to him as Geppetto, like Pinocchio's old man. He's still in the background pulling the strings, and I think the what Booth is started at the club is now starting to pay off. We have some great kids down here, some real talent as well, and the younger age groups are starting to slowly progress into the slightly older age groups, but we're still getting numbers at the bottom end. So long term, in a few years to come, we're hoping everyone stays playing cricket and cricket stays relevant, and these age groups we've got turn into our 13s, 15s, 18s, but we keep replenishing at the bottom. And then from there, fingers crossed. I know anyway we've got some great players with a lot of talent and ability. So we start filtering them into our senior teams, and it keeps us going for years to come. So yeah, hats off to Breather. I think junior cricket throughout is difficult, and yeah, there are some clubs that strive, and we've got hundreds of kids on, and there's no doubt about that's just a fact. It's true. But here at Farnworth, we are doing things the right way, and we will be back in the long term where we need to be.
Great. So I think we've got Farnworth now. So looking ahead of the upcoming season as a whole, so there's many new pros this year, new overseas, with new departures, new signings, and it was very competitive last year. We had a title race, there was like a knockout place and a relegation battle. How do you see the upcoming season going as a whole across all clubs?
I've really enjoyed the merger, to be honest. I think it has been really competitive. The one thing I've found, and it is purely just my view on it, but I felt like when I've played against the rib teams, it seems like they've got better bowlers up front, better amateur bowlers. Um, we we see people who can scratch a run and hold a bat everywhere we go, but the bowling definitely seems a bit stronger from the rib teams, from what I've seen. Maybe not the depth of bowling, but I can't think off the top of my head of many teams that don't have one or two up front seam bowlers that sort of bowl a heavier ball or do a bit with it, and it just seems that tiny little step up in ability. So I think the league's strengthening, and I'm hearing rumours along the way that other teams may come into the league, or we're going to look to add teams to the league again potentially. And I think if they do it, it'd be great. I mean, I'd love to see the old Bolton team clubs come back. Your likes of Edgerton, Greenmount, Bradshaw, West Orton, Heaton. I think if we could get some of them old flames and old rivalries going again, I think it'd only be positive, because I don't see really any negatives within this league. Obviously, you are going to get some sides that are a bit weaker, which you have in every league across the country, and that's where our relegation does well. But I think on the whole, it is really competitive, and this year especially, I can't see anyone running away with it. I think I've got my mind on who I think are the teams to beat and look out for. But I don't think anyone's clear cut in front and going to walk away.
Mm. Well, I think that will be the plan this year and in the future years to get the number back to 24. Obviously, we started 24 and Settle left after the first year. And then unfortunately, this year, Penn had to drop out into the conference divisions. But I see that being a definite goal, going to back up to 24 in the next couple of years. But you mentioned about the NWCL, obviously, we've had two successful years. And when it was announced, that was at the Bolton side meeting, and there was a lot of excitement around the new league and new merger, new clubs. But I think it was really quite a few concerns, and I think they were quite nullified, such as travel. I think after the first year came about, people knew that it weren't really an issue. Obviously, we just going up the motorways most of the time. But how have you felt on a personal level about the last two seasons of the NWCL have been in terms of the structure, the quality of cricket, etc.?
As I just touched on, I think quality is not a factor. Like I say, we've played against enough, what I'd say, weaker sides across the years that have still put runs on the board. So runs are never the issue, but I've felt since the merger that the levelling, bowling, especially up front, has slightly improved. And I think that's a credit to the rib sides that have come in, because it just seems that the level of bowling, for me, in my opinion, is slightly higher than what it was. In terms of travel, never really bothered about it. I think it's fine. I enjoy change, and I think it was exciting times because we're going into the unknown. One thing that's got me going a little bit is, obviously we travel around the rib clubs and we hear the rumours, and we all do. We hear names of who to look out for and whatnot. But when you arrive at that ground, you don't know what to expect. For instance, I don't know. You can think of a Chris Barrow, for example. We know going to social when Chris is playing, he's going to hit the ball to the moon. We know what his game plan is. We know what he's going to do with the ball. And you're sort of prepared for it already. But then you look at some of the rib clubs. I mean, over the last couple of years, we heard the name like Johnny Beach mentioned, and you sort of don't really know what to expect. Having played against him now, I was fine, but up front, you're sort of thinking this guy can play cricket because we've heard him being spoke about, but you just don't know what to expect. So yeah, that battle's been interesting, and I think there's always going to be new players all the time, especially pros changing and stuff. So there's always going to be a little element of that now. But the more we play against him, I think it'll only get more competitive, because you then start knowing what to expect and how to play against one another. And it just bodes well for years to come, I
Yeah.
believe.
Well, you mentioned Johnny Beach there, but I remember when I watched Tom v Ribblesdale Wanderers, and they've obviously got Jordan Brickcliffe and Ian Brickcliffe opening the ball in, and that's father and son duo. That's really good to see, and they're both very good bowlers, both different bowlers in their own rights, but it's very nice to see. And there's probably loads I've not seen much of the Ribblesdale clubs, but yeah, it's really good to see. But my last question for you, what would and I asked Will this the other day, what would you like to see change in modern day cricket in the next 5 years, looking at maybe amateur cricket on the whole, not just on the NWCL?
Yeah, so obviously before the interview midweek, you sent me a rough guide on what we might talk about, and I put a little bit of thought into this. Now, for me, I don't think anything at local cricket level should change. I think we just need to keep cricket as cricket, stop trying to reinvent the wheel, stick to what cricket is and what cricket should be. Stop trying to invent new rules or make things interesting. I think the biggest thing for me is having the governing bodies and the ECB and schools and education systems advertise and push cricket more. I think you look back at, say, the 2005 Ashes, cricket was on every telly you looked at. It was in every single paper. It was being spoke about. It was everywhere. You had families having barbecues and there was garden cricket going on. It was just wherever you looked. Now, it's hard to go on the internet and search for a cricket score. Um, you look at schools, kids might play cricket for a term of 4 weeks. But as soon as that term's finished, they're not bothering. And in that 4 weeks, it's not cricket. It's a little bit of tennis ball in a hot sports hall. It's not cricket how it should be. And I think if it was pushed more from the top and it was more accessible to kids, there wouldn't be this shortfall now where junior cricket sits, and there would be an abundance of kids coming through. As I say, I can only speak for Farnworth. Some of the young talent we've got is unbelievable. And then you just sit back and think to when I was a junior, the amount of juniors that played and some of the names that played and how good they were. And it worries me that in time, is there even going to be cricket with the declining numbers? Now, I know some clubs have an abundance of children, but out of all them kids at them clubs, how many of them actually play cricket week in, week out? Or do they just turn up to a training session? Where do we see the governing bodies and those at the top pushing cricket and getting numbers playing cricket again, making cricket? It doesn't have to be cool, but making it accessible and making kids want to be playing cricket. That's where I think the big push needs to be. Cricket will look
Yeah.
after itself if we can get numbers involved.
And you mentioned your five Ashes there. I go back to the 2019 World Cup final. I think again
Yeah.
everyone was watching the cricket there. I think that kind of got more cricket involved, but I think we've got to remember football is a big competitor of cricket in a way where you got the children want to go play football, and it is a much bigger sport than cricket. So I think that's the key thing that the ECB and the LCF obviously needs to look at, and the 100 as well. That's one thing
And
that they're
this
trying to
is
do.
well, this is where I mention the education systems and things because yeah, football is a bigger sport and it always will be. And everyone talks about football more. They want to talk about football more. They want to watch football more because it's a shorter format. And I get that. And truth be told, would I prefer to watch football? Probably, yeah, I would. But I do also like watching the cricket, so it doesn't affect me that way. But my concern is schools have football teams where they're playing every week. They're going playing other schools. They're in tournaments. They're in cups. How many schools are doing that with cricket these days? When I was in school, we used to come down here to Farnworth. I went to Harper Green and we used Farnworth and also Farnworth Social Circle. And we'd have matches against other schools. I don't see any of that, or not much of it going on anymore. And I think that's where it starts. If we could get schools having teams again and get people enjoying competing competitively in cricket, it'll make kids want to come back to the clubs. But I think also there's a bit of an element of family togetherness with that. If when you join a club, and there's a couple of examples I could use for different reasons, but I use the likes of Little Lever. Um, you turn up at Little Lever, and it seems like every single person stood in that club is breathing Little Lever cricket. Um, they're all encouraging the club, um, encouraging players on the pitch, pushing the team on to win. And as a club, it breeds togetherness and it makes families want to go there. It makes parents want to go and socialise, but also kids make friends and the kids want to go down there. I've got two girls and none of them play cricket, so to speak, but they join in with training every now and again. But they're constantly mithering me, Dad, are we going down to the club? Dad, can we go to the club? I want to see my friends. So if we can get a bit of that going and the kids want to be there, before you know it, half of them fall into cricket anyway because they're already there. And again, it starts breeding numbers. It's about getting kids back playing cricket and getting building numbers. I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel and change the game.
Mm. It's making it fun.
And
Obviously,
then
we've got
and
All
then
Stars cricket as well.
yeah, we've got all stars cricket and but again, I can only look at the way I see it. But all stars cricket, the majority of that is kids whose parents socialise at the club. I can't think of many kids that are thinking, do you know what? I've played cricket in school for the last 6 weeks and I really want to play. Mum, Dad, will you take me down to Farnworth Cricket Club? It just doesn't happen. Whereas if it's heavily advertised and pushed, I think we get that little bit of enthusiasm back and kids want to come back down and play the game. And I'll use Horwich Cricket Club as another example. I played there for a short spell, and as a club, the togetherness they've got and the things they do, it's astronomical. I mean, some of the some of the facilities that Farnworth have got compared to a Horwich, for example. I'm lucky now in the club where I sit, but then I look at the numbers that Horwich get for a T20. They've got a full town behind them supporting them. You can get up to 1,000 people there on a Friday night with a T20 just socialising, and before you know it, they've had a few drinks, they're sat on the sidelines, and then they're cheering the team on, and it all then starts to to snowball into a bigger effect. And before you know it, there's people returning back to the clubs, and you're just getting numbers, and in numbers then brings more involvement.
Yeah. You mentioned the T20s there. You go back 5 years ago when Bowie was doing these during the lockdown, and we're talking. A big topic point was the T20s and invested in T20s, and that gets kids there, that gets parents there, and it gets people into the club. So I think that's something that a lot of clubs have already done, but obviously we can obviously enhance that, like Harwich have done and Little Lever have done as well. So that's obviously a good point. But I think that's all the
Yeah.
questions I have. Is anything like you'd like to add?
Um. No, not that I can think of. To be honest, I hope we keep getting the weather we've had and season goes well into plan. I think so far everything's looking great, especially from a Farmworth standpoint. We're really looking forward to getting going. And I wish all the rest of the clubs all the best for the season as well. I hope it's competitive and um, I hope there's as many feisty challenges as there was last year. And I wish everyone the best. And it should be a tough old slog, but it'll be a good one nonetheless.
Real. So I'll get this on social media probably early next week. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on, and I'll wish you best of
Yep.
luck for this season.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Cheers. Thank you.
Catch you later. Bye bye.